Alright everybody, it's going to be my first video. I've been waiting for a while to do videos, just because I didn't really have a lot to say, but now I got a lot to say. As you can see, I collect toys. I'm a toy collector, an adult collector they say. Got them all around the room here. And I've been collecting, well, I've been collecting for a long time, but I really got back into it, I'm going to say 2020, 21-ish? I can't remember exactly. I know that, I know when the big thing happened, and then my son was off school, we played a lot of Fortnite. That was his thing at the time. So I really wasn't buying a lot of things, but I was looking online and seeing a few things. I think the first thing that caught my eye was the Motu Origins. When I first saw it, it was supposed to come out, the first wave, whatever, He-Man, Skeletor, the first wave of guys, and said, oh, Walmart exclusive, yada, yada, yada. And I thought, alright, I think I might get into that. That looks pretty cool. But I kind of forgot about it, and then it must have been late 2020-ish. I think I finally made it over to Walmart. I had been going there a couple of times. Actually, the first time, well, not the first time going to Walmart, but the first time since I learned about that, I went there looking, and I saw they had the reissues of the Transformers. They had a Soundwave and the two sets of tapes, Frenzy and what was it, Rumble and Ravage, Frenzy and Laserbeak, or Buzzsaw, I can't remember. Whichever one didn't come with the original Soundwave, that was the other one in that set. And I think they had an Optimus Prime without the trailer. The first thing I kind of scratched my head and I went, why does he have the trailer? Alright, that's kind of weird. But anyways, I really liked Soundwave as a kid. I mean, I loved that Transformer. I had him. I had all 4 tapes. Well, I guess 5, if you can include the one that comes with them. And I think I did eventually get some of the other tapes, like the Bat one. I can't remember what it was called, Rat Bat or something like that. But anyways, he was one of my favorites. So I ended up, well, I was going to get it, and then I looked at the price and went, $50. I think it was 50. Yeah, it was $50. You want $50 for this? I'm like I paid, well, I think my dad paid, like, I know it was expensive, but I mean, I think my dad paid like $14.97, or I think it was more $14.97 at J.K. Toys in 1984. No, actually, take it back. Yeah, no, it was 84. There was a big thing. I'll tell you about it later, but anybody remembers about Transformers when they first came out that Christmas of 84. Nobody could get them. If you didn't get them, in the summer or whenever they came out, the fall, and you tried to buy them around Christmas time, you're screwed because they weren't in the stores. So, anyways, so I lost $50. I'm like, that's kind of odd. So I hesitated, but then I looked at the tapes, and they were $20 a set. And I remember specifically the tapes were $3.99 or $4. I don't think they're $5. I think they were under $5. I don't know if they're $3.99, but I know they're under $5 because I remember they had a Toys R Us grand opening in Sterling Heights, Michigan, which is where the big mall was near my house. I grew up in Rochester, but we'd go to Lakeside Mall at Sterling Heights, and they had a grand opening with Toys R Us. The only other Toys R Us was by the other mall, Oakland Mall, which is in Troy. And so they had a grand opening with this Toys R Us, and my dad took me there, and I wanted to get something, obviously. And I think that those tapes are what I ended up getting. No, I take that back. I'm getting old, so I can't remember. But I take that back, because I remember I did buy the Jedi figures, the first few Jedi figures, and that was 83. And I believe it was before the movie came out in May. So, and I got them at that Toys R Us. So Toys R Us had been open, but it was still fairly new. And I remember getting the Ravage and Rumble, the tapes, summer-ish, late summer. But I don't think it was Halloween. I think it was late summer. And I don't know if those were the first. Maybe they were the first Transformers I ever had. But I remember telling my dad, I said, "Oh, I really want to get into Transformers, so I want some for Christmas." And he's like, "All right." So I remember we did go to a Toys R Us, a JK toy store, and they had a lot of them there, and he specifically bought Soundwave, and had to wait for Christmas, of course, to play with them and open them up. But I ended up getting them. My dad said, "Geez, these are really expensive," even then. So I didn't end up getting a lot of them that day, which was kind of a bummer because my dad said he'd wait till closer to Christmas. So of course, when we waited closer to Christmas, couldn't find a Transformer to save your life. They were all gone. And I want. So anyways, that's my kind of my background with Transformers. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. Let's fast forward back to 2020, and I'm there at Walmart, and I see the Soundwave and the 4 tapes, and I balk at the price. And I didn't think they had anything else that was of note. They didn't have the He-Man guys yet, so I left, and and I kind of forgot about it again for maybe a couple of months, and then I was sitting around online, and I ended up checking, or I saw something flash up about them, and I went, "Oh yeah, I forgot about those He-Man guys." Let me look online, see what's going on with that. So I look online and I see, oh, you can pre-order, not pre-order, but you could order them on Walmart.com, and I never ordered a thing on Walmart.com prior to this. Usually, Amazon, whatever other sites, but I ended up ordering, I think, everybody but Beastman. I think they're out of Beastman. So I think I ordered everybody Beastman, all at retail, not at any, third-party seller prices that I soon learned about this happening. But, so I pre-ordered them all, and I think I pre-ordered Battle Cat, I want to say. I think I pre-ordered everything that was out except for Beastman and the Sky Sled. Because they just didn't have it on pre-order there. Or not pre-order, but just order, shipped to the house or whatever. So I ordered those. And then I remembered, I said, well, what the hell, let me go up to... So I checked online or in stock, and it got a little screwy, because I think they said the Sky Sled was at the store, but you couldn't order it online. And again, I was still kind of new to this ordering stuff, so I'm specifically from Walmart, so I said, oh, well, let me just run up there and see what they got. I said, hey, I wonder if they even have those Transformers still. Maybe I might get the Soundwave if they had it. Well, I go up there, and they didn't have any of the, well, I don't think they had any of the reissued Transformers. I think they had like the Headmasters, which I never had as a kid. I was out of Transformers by that time. But they had, they did have the Sky Sled, and I went, huh, well, Larry, what do you think? And they didn't have many figures. I think they just had He-Man and Skeletor. I got to look at them for the first time, but I already had them ordered, so I wasn't going to buy them again. So I ended up buying the Sky Sled. I think it was $29.99. It was the regular price. And then I ended up going to, or I went over to the other sections, and they had one thing that totally caught my eye. It just was freaked. Actually, I got the box handy here. Was this? I freaked. I saw this and I freaked. It's been open. That's why the guy's not in there. But and I went, what the hell? I mean, I love this box. I don't know how many times I've drawn this box, or drawn the, versions of this as a kid, and I just wanted the box. I love the toy, but I mean, it's just like, I just want this box. So that was $25. So I picked that up, and I picked up the the Sky Sled. And I went home, and I instantly looked online to see what's going on with this. What's because they didn't have anything else there but that. So I ended up checking out, did I go? I looked at Amazon, and then I was still getting, like I said, I'm just getting new to this stuff, learning about the sites, and, I mean, obviously I've used this a lot of these sites to buy other things, but I was just getting back into toys, and I found, I think I just went to Hasbro, which is Hasbro Pulse. I wasn't sure what that was all about, and like, Pulse? Okay, whatever. Um, so, I went on there, and they had it, and then they showed the Awe Striker, which I ended up getting eventually, and a couple of figures. I'm not exactly sure which ones they were. I know I never got the Snake Eyes, the Baroness, Scarlet. So whoever was the figures that were on there that were in stock, I was going to order them on there, but I didn't. I figured, oh well, I'll find these guys eventually. Their stuff's all coming out. I learned it was G.I. Joe Retro. I also looked at it and I said, these look a lot like those 25th anniversary figures, because that was another, back when I was married, those were out, and I remember having a discussion with the ex-wife, and she was like, I said, oh, these are really neat. And she says, you're not getting into that. You're not going to collect G.I. Joe figures. So, again, it's neither here nor there, but I ended up not getting those. And that was, I kind of knew about that then. This must have been 2010-ish. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know exactly when those were out. But I just remember seeing those. I think it was a Toys R Us too. I said, oh, these look a lot like those. Maybe they're the same things. But I remember specifically the vehicles didn't have retro packaging. I know the figures had sort of retro packaging for the 25th anniversary, but I remember seeing a Hiss, I think, or it was a red Hiss or something like that. I know it was the original Hiss, which is, painted red. So, but that, I wanted the boxes, and I saw that as I gotta have it. So, got it. Not knowing that it was going to be, the retro line was going to become what it became, or how it happened, but a huge, huge disappointment for me. I'm not saying I loved the 25th anniversary-esque figure sculpts, but I do love G.I. Joes, and I love the 3 3/4, and of course, and I'll still say this today, I said, I just want the O-ring figures back. I don't care how antiquated they are. I don't care how much people think, oh, the O-ring figures sucked compared to what they have now. I just wanted my old toys back. And that'll be obviously my you'll learn as I keep doing videos, if I keep doing videos, that that's all I want. I want my old toys back. I don't really care about points of articulation. I don't really care about modern sculpts or facial likenesses of actors and actresses and stuff like that. I mean, sure, it's cool, but that's not really what I want. What I want is my old toys back. I had a lot of toys as a kid, a lot of toys, and I want them all back. And so, so first and foremost, if anything comes out, first thing I go to is the reissues or reproductions or whatever you want to call them. And that's what caught my eye with Motu Origins. Now, Motu Origins, I've got to say, in comparison to the original vintage figures, I love the Motu Origins. I know I've heard people say that the colors are too bright. I don't see that an issue. I know people say the faces look different, blah, 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 blah. The plastics feels different, blah, 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 blah. I don't care. I just think they look amazing. And the fact that they don't have those dumb rubber bands in them anymore, you can actually pull them apart. I'm not that I love pulling them apart, but obviously you don't have to worry about the construction like you did the old ones. But I'm looking over here because all my Motu guys are in this case. I'll show you later. I'll keep moving the camera around. It's my first video. I don't want to make it more complicated than it needs to be, but no, I love them. I think they're superior to the vintage ones, even though I'm a diehard vintage as far as I want my old toys back. But these are the closest thing you're going to get with an improvement to the old toys. So it's a win-win for me. So here, I'll get into my other thing about collecting toys. So my time's at 15 minutes. Okay, probably go half an hour-ish, my first video. But my I only want 1982 up to 1984 for He-Man specifically, and here's why. I was there at ground zero. 1982, I was there. I was 9 years old. I ended up buying, I think my first figure was, I remember the conversation I had with my dad. I remember it was a sunny day. I was sitting in the living room. My dad was sitting in his blue chair. My dad would have been 39 at the time. Yeah, I mean, that doesn't, not that that matters, but I know, because he's 30 years older than me, and I turned 10 in 1983, so if it was 1982, he was 39, I was 9. I said to my dad, I said, Dad, there's these new guys coming out, and I really want the skull-faced guy. He's my favorite guy. And he's like, he's your favorite guy? I thought, I'm your favorite guy. Yeah, ha, 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 Dad. Whatever. But anyways, I said, yeah, can I get him? He's like, but he's like $4.99. He's more expensive than a Star Wars figure. And so my dad said, I thought you're going to stick with Star Wars figures. No, wait, that's 82. That's before I was off of Star Wars figures for a little while. He did say something I was into at the time. I can't remember what it was. But he said, I thought you were going to stick with that. I said, no, I want to try this these new figures. Incidentally, I did know about G.I. Joe in 1982 because I got the first comic book, Marvel comic book. I bought it at Rochester Book Center, which is where I used to get my comics as a kid. I wasn't really into comics at 9. I mean, I was into comics, but I wasn't really into superhero comics yet. I really like the toy property comics, like G.I. Joe, which was just now becoming a toy. Transformers wasn't out yet, but I was really into Micronauts and Shogun Warriors, and really loved Micronauts. And of course, Star Wars, Marvel Star Wars comics. So I got the G.I. Joe comics. So I knew about the comic, I knew about the figures, but I didn't jump on them right away. One of my big regrets as a kid was I did jump on He-Man in 82, but I didn't jump on G.I. Joe. I don't know why, but for some reason I hesitated on it. At 83 I was all in, but in 82 when the first line came out, I had the comic, but I didn't have any of the figures. I think I know in 82 Eagle Force was out, and I kind of felt like I got burnt on Eagle Force. And what else was out in 82 that I kind of felt like I got burnt on? I think Crystar figures. Again, another Marvel comic book that I had. One of those premium format comics on Hudson paper, in the 80s. Double-sized #1. And then in the back they had a ad for the Remco toys for Crystar. And I was all on board on that. In 82... I was just 81, I started playing Dungeons and Dragons. I had the original box sets. Actually, see, there's the original box set. But anyways, in 81, I was in 3rd grade. It's also the year my parents got divorced. But in 81, I was playing Dungeons and Dragons. And so everything fantasy like that. And then I think in 82, the Conan movie came out. My dad, my parents are divorced now, so my dad took me to see all the movies he shouldn't have taken me to see. And Conan was one of them. We saw it at a drive-in. I was all about fantasy in 82. And then, so He-Man really spoke to me at that time. But G.I. Joe, not so much at the moment. Even though I like military stuff. But, so I was there at Ground Zero for He-Man 1983, and I ended up getting Skeletor eventually. Yeah, Skeletor. I remember I got Zodak at a Service Merchandise, and I know it was getting cold by that time because I remember sitting out. We had a friend of the family had a van, and my mom and her were still in the store shopping, and I wanted to go open my figure and go sit out in the van, so they gave me the keys, which was a thing back then. Go out and sit in the van, turn on the heat, and heat it up because of the snowing out, and I had Zodak, or a Zodiac as I call, or Zordak? No, I called him Zodiac. Zodiac's what I called him as a kid. and it's Zodiac, and so my mom ended up getting me that figure, and then I my next figure, I believe, was no, my next thing was Wind Raider, um, and then needless to say, by the time Christmas hit of '82, my two big Christmas presents that year were Castle Grayskull and Dark Tower by Milton Bradley Electronics. Also fantasy, also quasi Dungeons and Dragons-esque. It all played into this whole thing. Also, oddly enough, the Dark Tower box set and the Castle Grayskull box set are very evocative of each other. So I loved the art right off the bat. And then, so He-Man, probably outside of like Micronauts and Shogun Warriors, because all that stuff had kind of been out for a while. And then Star Wars, I was big when the movie first came out. I'll get into Star Wars later. Obviously, I got the retros up there on the wall and some of the vintage. But I didn't, when Empire was out, I really wasn't into the toys. Because like I'd say 1980 up till He-Man in 1982, my toy collecting was primarily Cars, anything Cars related, Dukes of Hazzard, really loved the Dukes of Hazzard. A lot of Cars though. Even if it was the Batmobile, it didn't have to be necessarily like muscle cars or whatever at the time. It was just Cars and things like that. But my bike, being outside, I really wasn't into. There wasn't any necessarily specific figures. I mean, like I said, Chris Starr I kind of got into, and a few of those guys. But He-Man was probably the first after the Star Wars insanity. He-Man was probably the first of the actual 80s toys that I got into. Really got into and got them all. And what am I at? 22 minutes. Okay. So anyways, that's my He-Man story. So I've gone, 1982, had them all. 1983, had them all. With the exception of, no, there was no exception. Well, I think I had the accessory pack. I'm not 100% certain, but I had everything of 82. 83. 84, I had everything except for the Dragon Walker. It was the only one thing I didn't want. And therefore, nowadays, if they come out with Origins does a Dragon Water, fine. I'll probably get it because I would be a completist for 1984. But if they don't, I'm not going to be heartbroken because I thought it was a dumb toy when I was, 11 years old. I still think it's kind of dumb today. I did love the Attack Track, though. Or no, what was the other toy? Because that was 83. The Roton. Yeah, okay. Roton, I think, was the other vehicle at the time. Incidentally, I also had all three of, and I loved these. I actually kind of loved these more than I liked the actual toys. As I had the Revell model kits of Point Dread, the Talon Fighter, Roton, and the Attack Track. And I remember the Attack Track, the colors were reversed. It was a blue body with red wheels as opposed to the toy was red body with blue wheels. But the canopies, like the canopy on the Roton and the canopy on the Attack Track, I thought that was so cool because it kept the figure nice and secure. I didn't have the electronics in it, which I didn't really care so much about, but everything else functioned, and they worked with the figures. So I loved those Revell kits. Now I'd love to have those Revell kits again. I'm not going to pay collector prices for them, but if they were to reissue, if Revell was to ever reissue them or something, I would definitely pick them up. But I love those. I love those Revell kits. Okay, so 84, I had everything but the Dragon Walker. In 85, I think it was before the toys came out, the new 85 wave came out, the movie came out. Not the Dolph Lundgren movie, but the animated movie when they introduced She-Ra and the Horde. And I remember I went to the Winchester movie theater with a friend. Parents dropped us off, and they gave us a free comic book, sat down to watch it, and I was just like, I don't think I like He-Man anymore. It was the She-Ra that did it. I didn't like the fact that they had She-Ra and they were going to make it a girls' line. It was a boys' line. And, as an 11-year-old boy, I was like, in the 80s, I was like, I don't like this. And the Horde were kind of cool, but at the same time, I just thought they were kind of goofy. So, and I didn't like Hordak at all. I didn't like his voice. I didn't like him at all. So, I remember walking out of the movie theater saying, I think I'm done with He-Man. I'm not going to collect anymore. And I, for the most part, I never did. Yeah, I think the only figure I ever bought after 1984 was Cyclone, just because I thought he looked cool. And, you know, I thought there was another figure that came out that I had after 84, was the guy with the arm, the orange guy with the arm. But I think I must have had a dream about that, or I just had a conversation, but that never actually came out. But I always swore that that came out and I had him, but I don't think it did. But I did have Cyclone, because I thought he was neat looking. I liked the bright, vibrant colors. But I didn't have anything else. I didn't buy anything else. I was done with He-Man. 84 was the last wave. So, for my origins now, I'm only collecting 82 to 84. And everything in order is by order on in my display case of how it came out in 82, 83, and 84. And I have all the figures. I don't need any more figures anymore. The only thing I need now, I've got Snake Mountain on pre-order. I think Wednesday my Point Dread comes in. Screech should come in sometime with Skeletor this month. I'll probably leave Skeletor in his box, but I'll take Screech out, just like I left Teela in her box and just put Zoar out. But I'm done with He-Man. I got everything I wanted. I did buy the, I did get the special set that came for Castle Grayskull. I'm pointing because it's up there. Well, the Grayskull's up there. But I got the because I wanted the armor, the space armor guy, and I wanted that. It was kind of hard to get that, but I ended up getting it, and I didn't pay. I paid actual list, or list price for it. I didn't pay collector's prices for it. I got it when they had that second run on it, and I was there at like 9 a.m. in the morning. Got it lickety split. So I got him. And then, or I got that thing. So if they do come out with like a set for Snake Mountain, I'll probably buy it just because it's part of Snake Mountain. Not saying they're going to, but if they do. And I'll buy the Dragon Walker if it comes out. I'll buy the Attack Track, definitely. And then I'm done. I don't need any more He-Man stuff. I'll have everything that I had as a kid and some, and then a little bit. The one thing I do want, and this is the thing that drives me nuts about Origins, drives me nuts since that first day I had to go get the Sky Sled at Walmart, is where's the back of the Battle Ram? I want my Battle Ram. It was one of my favorite toys as a kid. I have a Battle Ram. I got a sticker set that I got to put on it that I ordered, a Repro sticker set, but I found this at a second-hand shop for $12. It only came with one of these, and I think it's sort of broken. It fires, but it's hard to get back in. You have to turn it weird. But I have a Battle Ram, but I want an Origins Battle Ram. So I think they said they're coming out with the back of it. They're calling it the Chariot or something. But I'll definitely get that. But otherwise, my He-Man collection, that chapter's closed. I'm on to other things, and I have other things I'm trying to complete. But I'm right about at 30 minutes, so I'm going to call it there. So this will be the first video. I'll get used to it. I'll learn how to edit and all that other fancy business. Maybe I'll script. No, I'll script things. I'll write down notes so I'm not a little scared. I'll get scatterbrained and I'll go off on tangents. Trust me. I might even put on a clean shirt for future videos. But as you can see, I've got stuff in here, and I can go into detail on all of that stuff later. But for now, yeah, let's call it the first video. Alright, and I'll probably be making a second one soon. Alright, take care everybody. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.